So it's the day.
It's the day. We are minutes away from a Good Morning America ABC News interview, talking about our family, talking about Caliyah, talking about Pfeiffer syndrome, talking about invisible diseases, and our foundation, Vital 5 Foundation, what we're doing to educate, bring awareness, and support families with medical children. So
yes,
I'm anxious. Anxious is F right now. I'm sweating. I'm hot.
That's gonna be fine.
My stylist hooked me up though. Shout out Jeremiah. I appreciate you. You know, I'm just ready to get it going. So we're going contacts today, no glasses. We shining a little bit. I changed out from the black to the chrome,
Yes, anyways.
So I'm like, if I'm gonna be on TV, they gotta see me.
Yeah. Well, you have anything else to say?
Nah, go ahead.
So yeah, we are ready. It's in like 10 minutes. Callie's downstairs. She's all dressed. Can't wait for you guys to see her. And it's not live, so we're gonna do the interview and then it's gonna be posted later. So
I said on TV, but I meant like online. It's kind of like on TV now because people cut cable. So it's gonna be on all their social platforms. It's gonna be on their online website. So we're excited for you guys to see it.
Yeah. So we will show you a little bit behind the scenes, but join us for our week of interviews. I know earlier you saw us with Nord and now GMA. So we are just thankful that people just love Caliyah so much and we get to share and bring awareness to Pfeiffer syndrome.
So what's up, guys? Today we had the most amazing interview experience. Good Morning America's website, ABC News, Good Morning America Social. And we talked about Caliyah, Pfeiffer syndrome, what our family's doing to generate awareness for rare diseases and syndromes, and just talk about parenting journey in general.
Yeah.
I think that I want to, take this time to not only talk about the whole process, which was amazing, by the way, but why we're doing, what we're doing. And so in order for us to get in there, I want to take you on the backstory of how this all started, because they saw my letters to Caliyah that we wrote in the NICU. So if you look back at some of my other videos, I said that our daughter Caliyah, that was born in January, has a rare genetic syndrome called Pfeiffer syndrome. And essentially that kept her in Seattle Children's Hospital for 5.5, almost 6 months.
Yeah.
So a lot of back and forth to the hospital. I only actually took a few weeks off of work, so I was working the whole time while Felicia was on maternity leave, and she was doing a lot of the heavy lifting. And, if you've never really spent lots of time in the hospital, especially a children's hospital, it's not really meant for parents. It's not comfortable. It's dark. Some rooms are cold. Some rooms are extremely hot. It just, wasn't what we envisioned. Most people are able to have their children and bring them home from the hospital. Since our journey was a little bit different, all that we did was take to Instagram. We decided as a couple, as her parents, nothing's going to change. We're not going to treat her any differently. We're going to do the exact same things, although, they are a little harder, but we're going to do the exact same things that we would do if she didn't have a hospital stay when she was born. And so because, this was such a tough time, my only therapy was writing. Yeah. And so it first started out as pencil and a notebook, but I just started the line, "Dear Caliyah," and just let everything pour out from there.
It's like your little journal each week.
It was my little journal each week, every Sunday. And because, if there was anything that happened to me, because I have my own medical issues, I wanted my daughter to be able to look back and read those letters and not only know, hey, what we're going through at the time, but also know that, hey, my dad really loved me. My dad was really going to move a mountain for me. My dad would literally have done anything for me. And then they started picking up steam.
Yeah.
And
they were beautiful.
People started reaching out, people who have medically complex children, people who didn't. And, they were just so inspired by my pain, which was, it was different for me. But some of those people kind of helped inspired me to keep going and go twice as hard.
I thought it was beautiful because you were so vulnerable.
Yeah.
And anyone who knows Rome knows that, like, he's a tough guy, that hard exterior. And so for you to be so vulnerable at such a hard time and let people in, it was like, wow, he's being so real. And I think that with social media, we tend to see like the highlights of everyone's life, and people were seeing like our hardship in the moment, like living it through us, with us, and saw us like overcome so many things. So each letter you shared more about how you were feeling, and each week you got to see like an update of Caliyah. So it was beautiful to read. Sometimes I go back and read them now to see like where we are now to where we started.
And you know what actually, like, so again, they were definitely therapy, but I think the thing that kind of, really made me want to do this and show up for her was, in late January, my idol died in a helicopter crash. When Kobe passed away, so many things, and, he was with his daughter, and I just remember all the quotes of him saying, "Girl dad, I'm a girl dad." And here I am with a daughter, and here we are going through all of these things with her in the hospital. But I'm like, I'm breathing. Even though I have medical issues, I'm breathing. She's breathing, even though that she has her own medical issues. And so regardless, I use those letters to kind of insulate her with love. Right. And also too, it happened to get picked up by bigger pages on Instagram. Bigger people, some celebrities started reaching out. What?
My arm is dying.
Oh.
Like, this is going to be a short video.
And they were resharing some of my posts. And as they were resharing some of my posts, like I saw my one post, there's one post in particular, and it was me writing to her to explain to her that my idol Kobe just passed away, but also too that I'm gonna take the Mamba mentality to parenthood and being the best dad ever, and just whatever she needs, I'm gonna do it. Whatever work I gotta do, I'm gonna do it. And that afforded me the opportunity, like I said, to go viral a few times. And now media agencies and media companies, see it and are reaching out and looking back through the story. And of course, since Pfeiffer syndrome is 1 in 100,000 rare, they're like, people don't talk about these sort of diseases, syndromes, things. It would be the perfect opportunity for you and your family to come on our platform. We're going to interview you and talk about everything parenthood, everything living with the invisible disease, living with a visible disease, being parents or a visible syndrome, being new parents, and just everything.
So you're gonna hear everything. You're gonna hear all the journey of it all. And for those who have watched it and been along the ride with us, I think it'll be nice for you to see it from our perspective and kind of get the full circle picture of where we started and where we are now. But it has been amazing to see so many people take to our story and take to our journey. And it's just the beginning. She's only 11 months. So There's so much more life to live and so much more that you guys will see from us. And we do hope that this is just the beginning of being able to get on some larger platforms and share what's going on and share our story.
Completely. And, I'm going to throw it out there. Like, I hope these larger platforms do continue to pick us up, because I think that there's a major story to tell. The world that we live in is not built for people with, some of the limitations that my daughter has, some of the limitations that other kids have. The corporate world is not built for someone who has an individual illness like myself. Disability guidelines are off, they're dated. And so I want this, and I'm hopeful that this will start a national conversation on, how we can make this country, this world accessible to everybody, because, we have to debunk this normal, because there's no such thing as normal. We are all our own normal. We are all our own authentic person. And so you can't look at Joe Smith and say that Joe Smith is normal, but Rome Johnson is not. Like that, it doesn't work like that. And so, we want to normalize these things, and we just are super excited. You can't see it on my face right now because I'm a little tired, but We're excited that this is going to air in early January. We're excited for the opportunity to kind of put our money where our mouth is, because me and Felicia are going to be advocates for the medically complex, not only families, but kids too. So we are going to continue to use our platform. We're going to continue to work, and we're going to continue to do what we have to do to not only have our daughter have the life that she deserves, but the other kids and the other families too. So I want to say thank you again for tuning in, and more content about this coming. So be on the lookout for it. Yeah, Caliyah is probably the sassiest baby I've ever met. Let me just tell you a little about Caliyah. So Caliyah is that person where if she doesn't like something, she's gonna tell you. It's either gonna be with a look, it's gonna be with a slap or a pat or something. Sometimes she gets over things quickly, and she'll start to look at her hands and don't wanna do anything. Bless you. So yeah, she, in terms of like what she likes this show on YouTube called Harry and Larry. This is anything with bunnies, to be honest.
Yes, she loves her bunny. Say hi. You give a little smile. She loves her bunny. What do? We love lights.
Yeah.
We love playing with our nurses and with mommy and daddy. We love like Rose said.
Yeah, the hands are her favorite thing outside the bunnies. But
more recently, she's been sitting up and playing. So we've been trying to explore the world a different way, a different view, right?
she likes water, actually.
Oh, yeah.
We found that out pretty
Love
early
water.
on. Just, we'll get into it later, but essentially we took a trip to the ocean, and the whole point was to like get her dipped in the water and see how she reacts, because I love the ocean. Like, it's my healing, like centering ground. And so, unfortunately we weren't able to stay there due to smoke. But when we got back, we came to a local lake over here, and she was just kicking her feet in the water, just completely lounging and chilling.
So relaxed. She fell asleep. We had this little floaty. She fell asleep. She is one with the water. Structural.
Yeah.
So, Pfeiffer syndrome is all about the bone. And so it almost grows too fast, or in certain places doesn't grow at all. And so there's fusion in a lot of places, like elbows. But then, like you said, her head. So the fusion in her head doesn't allow it to grow at the rate that other kids would grow. So most kids, their skull doesn't totally completely fuse until they're 2 years old. So with hers at 30 weeks being closed, you can just imagine the pressure, like as Rome was saying, it puts on your brain and doesn't allow for that growth. So a lot of hers is just trying to get in front of that. So we've been able to have a great hospital up here at Seattle Children's Hospital, and they see about 150 kids with this syndrome, in this cousin syndrome, Pfeiffer, Aper, and Cruzon, a year. They have about 50 people doctors and pediatricians on their craniofacial team. Most hospitals might have maybe 7 or so. And so they're one of the top hospitals in the world. And for us to be just 40 minutes away, just kind of just shows you the blessing.
Yeah.
And how we do feel like we were picked to be her parents because of that. The location, the love we have, just the dedication and the work ethic we're going to put into helping her hit those milestones. But yes, and I think one of the things we always want to share with others is that Pfeiffer syndrome kids can go on to live a high quality life. There's a lot of surgeries early on to help them get there, but they go to college, they get married, they can have family and kids, and there's different severities of it, but you do have kids that go on to do amazing things and live high quality life. And so we want to bring that awareness to others, because I think some feel like, oh, will she ever walk? Will she ever talk? And we always start with, she's capable of all things. She's going to do all of that. We don't start with, we don't know. I just say, yeah, she's going to do that. Yeah, she's going to walk.
For one, like I said, she's feisty, she's determined, and she's very independent. So one day she might just get up and start walking, and we might look and be like, what are you doing?
That's her.
But yeah, and also
she tries to fool us. Like with sitting, like she would do it for 30 seconds, a minute. And then out of nowhere, she just started sitting for like 10, 20 minutes straight. And we're like, what? And it's like, I know her. She's like, oh, I can do this. I didn't want to let you guys know too soon.
Right. But in terms of ways that we had to adapt, I just think, whenever we go somewhere, it takes longer to pack up, because we have to take her ventilator. Because you saw her on her trach. She is on her ventilator now at night only, but she came home on the ventilator basically 24/7. And then so we have to pack that. There's a suction machine to suction out the mucus out of her trach, because again, it can get fatal if that's clogged. We also have to travel with 3 people no matter what. So like Callie has to travel with 2 people no matter what. So 1 driver and 1 sitting in the back to help her out. We also have nurses. So our nurses are in the home 20 hours a day, helping out, and they're amazing.
They are our lifeline.
Yeah,
like we couldn't function. I think everyone's like, how do you guys manage to do this and that? It's because of them. It's because they're like our security blanket. We know that we have them. We're going to get through it. We got trained in the hospital. So we had to get trained, I think it was like 20 hours, which took us about 3 months to do. So we would feel confident that we could take care of her, all of her daily needs. But so we had that. But then you add on the nurses as well. We have them in the day and the night, and it allows us to continue to live life and to be able to go on trips, knowing that we know that they know all the things about her and can emergency situations. They got us, they got her. So everyone's like, we don't get to see the behind the scenes of what gets her to those next levels, but they are a key part. Yeah. I feel like we both have different stories when it comes to that. I think everyone does, how they deal with a hardship and how they overcome it, depending on what they've gone through in their life. And this has most definitely been the hardest thing I've ever had to deal with and overcome. And I'm still in that process. And so what I'll say is for earlier on is giving yourself grace to feel those emotions. I felt like I had to be so strong. I had to have it together, and I held everything in. And because of that, I wasn't allowing myself to feel those emotions. And, me and Roma had a talk. It was just like, let it out. Let it out. Have your moment, have your days, but know you can't stay in this place forever. Caliyah needs us. She needs both of us. And for a while, it was Rome who she had the emotional strength from. And I it was so hard for me not to be connected with my family. I'm still trying to heal from delivering my daughter. She's in the hospital. Rome is able to go back and forth. I'm trying to, but my body's saying slow down. And so it was a lot of just taking the time to go through all those emotions and feelings and knowing that, okay, I'm working myself to get to a point of strength and lean on our support system, talking to a therapist and being honest with each other and communicating of this is how I'm feeling right now. And this is how you're feeling right now. And you can be in the same situation and have 2 different responses to it. And that's okay. And that took me a minute to realize, like, how come you're handling this so much better than I am? I should be there. But you were doing such a great job of putting that on.
Again, the whole, I've almost been like an Academy Award actor my whole entire health journey because, again, like I said, putting on this face. And so as we had the chat, like, I was extremely willing and hopeful that Felicia would give herself that grace because again, like I have always seemed like I've gone through things growing up with whatever things. And so I've really just tried to internalize it and figure it out and keep moving forward. I think moving forward was the most important thing. And so when we got the news with this, of course it was like a gut punch. And of course, one of the first times I felt like my strong exterior foundation start to crack and start to buckle. And then, and that was something in itself. Cause then I realized too, like, why am I, making myself be strong? Who am I trying to be strong for? Because when it comes down to it, like, we weren't projecting any of this to Caliyah or towards Caliyah. And so I had no reason or no one to put up a strong face for. Like, it was just some societal, like, thing that as men, and as a Black man in general, like, we're supposed to do. Mm-hmm. And so I'm like, I need to debunk all this, which is why I took, the pen to the paper and started becoming vulnerable, and it just switched everything. And that was the moment to where I'm like, okay, because those letters literally started as therapy. Like, it was therapy for me. And after I wrote it out, I was like,
it is.
I'm okay.
I started a blog and same thing, therapy, just writing down my feelings of what I felt. And then the hindsight of it, like to look back at it and see where I started and where I am now and what I've overcome. I was like, I'm proud of myself. Like, I've gotten through some really hard times